So you're sick of being constantly bloody knackered. You look in the mirror and hate what you see. You're worried about your health, but at the same time, you're wondering, like, how do I fix this as a man who travels a lot for business, has to go to client lunches and client dinners, doesn't want to look awkward. Like my client many years ago, Tim, came to me and he has a fry up every morning, Monday to Friday, still does. This is when he was 53, he's now 62. And he's type 2 diabetic, and he's like, I have a fry up every morning, Monday to Friday before work. I don't want to sit there like eating rabbit food and having porridge oats or telling people I'm on a fitness journey. And I need to do it because that's how I've built a lot of my business. How do you do it? This is what I'm going to cover in this video. I'm just going to cover a few things that make sense to do. Some of the things I taught Tim and my other clients who travel a lot. One of my clients many years ago, Mark, came to me and then within about a week or two, messaged me and said, I've got to travel for my business. He was in the process of trying to sell it, and he left his home in the Philippines where he lived, and he went for 7 weeks straight. So that's 7 weeks of, you know, flying around all over Europe, meeting people, airports, hotel meals. You know, not a single meal was cooked by him in 7 weeks, and he still managed to lose weight. You can do it too. I'm guessing what you're going through is nowhere near as extreme as Mark. It might be more like Tim, where it's every day, or might be a few times a day where you have to eat out. So number one, you have to understand your numbers, and you have to understand food portions. So you have to know how many calories you need. You're never going to be perfect. Like when Mark traveled for 7 weeks straight, he wasn't perfect, but he obviously knew that he needed a certain amount of food, and he was at a point where I taught him how to kind of look at foods and open menus and know what to choose and how much to eat. So you need to know your numbers. You can't be winging it, but again, don't be perfect. Number two, understand food portions the best you can. The best way to do that is over time, when you can prepare food when you're at home, is just weigh some of your more favorite foods out. So let's say you are somebody who likes to eat rice when you're out. Well, if you weigh it in the kitchen a few times, you'll get an idea of what a portion of rice looks like for you, because for you it might be a certain amount. For me it might be double. You need to understand that for you. So that's number two. So if you get that right, understand your numbers in terms of what you need in a day, and understand food portions, that's probably 90% of the battle. Next one, number three, understand your numbers for the whole week. Because actually what most men think about is the daily calories. I used to be like that. It's very traditional, 2,000 calories every day, 2,000 calories every day. But actually what you can do is go up and down. I learned this when I first started to bodybuild, and I took that bodybuilding skill and put it into what I did with my clients. My client Scott is a great example of this. He was about 3 stone overweight, tried everything, as he said to me. And what we did was make Monday to Friday quite strict. He was happy to do this. It was very much kind of like very basic and quite normal because he had routine. Calories were quite low, so there was a little bit of an element of hunger and restriction. But at the weekend, he could have far more calories. I remember at the weekend, he had something like 2 times more calories than in the week, which meant he could have, you know, some pizza with his kids or go for a beer with his friends and not worry and still achieve his goals. He lost that 3 stone and he looks great. Now that leads me on to the last point, number 4, and that is learn that certain foods aren't good and certain foods aren't bad. Because what you will do, and I've done it, we've all done it if we're of a certain age, like I'm in my 40s, is believe that certain foods are bad for weight loss. Like if you eat them, you literally won't lose weight. Like if I have bread, that's it, game over. And then there are some things, like there was a time when Weight Watchers and Slimming World were letting you eat certain foods in abundance. They were foods that were unlimited, silly as well. Because what you don't want is you don't want to make it so restrictive that you get bored of it. And you also don't want that kind of, going back to the example of say Tim with the fry up. If I, said to him many years ago, look, you can still have these fry ups, then, and he thought he couldn't, that might have led to him not believing what I showed him. And you get to the point where, okay, does he follow it? Does he not bother? Does he go into it thinking he's going to choose healthily, and then at the last minute in front of a prospect or a client think, sod it, what's the point? It's just going to ruin it all. So you have to kind of change that belief around food. Now, obviously I have to say this because this is the internet. I'm not saying that you can have loads of crap, but I definitely think if you have a rule of 90-10, 85-15, where the 10 to 15 is a percentage of your calories that is kind of used for treats, you're going to be completely okay. Like I still every time I go to the gym for lifting weights, I've done this for many years, did it yesterday. On the way to the gym, I have my pre-workout, I have some amino acids, and I have a chocolate bar. I'm still able to lose a couple of pounds a week. When I did my bodybuilding competition, one of the things I learned from my coach was a type of read feed where once a week we had to eat junk food, foods high in sugar, because it helps your metabolism. And there was one weekend where I tracked it and I had like 15,000 calories. I had McDonald's that day. I can't remember if it was Burger King or McDonald's, but I had something from Burger King or McDonald's, and I had a KFC. 15,000 calories, still got in great shape. That really shows that, you know, there aren't foods that are going to stop you from losing weight, but at the same time, you know, you can't have them all the time, because you will end up with poor body, you know, you'll end up with poor body composition. You won't have the health and the muscle that you want. You'll just lose weight for the sake of it, and you'll probably end up looking a bit skinny fat. But really, that covers it, most of it. If I recap here, for somebody who's going into an airport or a business meeting or a client lunch, frequently, this could be several times per week, you got to be thinking, okay, how much food do I need in relation to, you know, my goal, my activity, you know, how many steps have I done? Am I going to get a chance to train this week? Am I adding in some cardio? When you're in there and you open up the menu, it's like, okay, I got to choose something that is sensible, like high in protein. Like, you know, classic examples, almost cliche, would be like some steak and veg. But yeah, if it comes with some chips, do you eat half? Yeah, you probably can get away with eating half of the plate as opposed to eating them all. Do you then have a dessert? Probably not, because you might want to have a beer. So it's just this kind of constant like weighing up the options and being sensible, which is a skill that you can learn. Now, if you would like some help with that, like Tim did, Mark did, he went traveling for 7 weeks, and Scott, who has the kind of higher weekend calorie count, send me a message on Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn if you're on there, Phil_Agostino on most of those. We can have a chat and go from there.